Okay, so the fourth career cluster that we are going to go over is human services. So it's pretty self-explanatory. Human services involves basically helping people. You can apply this to different scales. So it can go from local to national, even up to international. So you can't really limit yourself to one if you prefer expanding your options and you're a people person, which is one of the main. So some careers that fall under this category include the one listed below. And as I said about the scale of these jobs, here are some examples. So the community organizations and public policy careers, those would apply to a more local scale. You would probably find those in your day-to-day community, in an area close to you, and in comparison with something that is probably more on the national or international scale, you can pursue government or military or law, something that is going to involve other countries or just your country as a whole. So yeah, scale is very large. So some things that you can do to further explore this career, it's going to get kind of repetitive, but hands-on experience, it's just always going to look good. So a summer job or an internship for course credit would probably help the most when pursuing these careers. And to be more specific, if you want to advance, get a head start, and just develop some skills to help you later, you can start practicing public speaking or writing, because you're going to encounter those a lot when going into these careers in the future. For example, if you go into law, you're going to have to know how to speak in front of an audience. You're going to have to learn how to defend a case and like present your findings, present your information without failure. So that's always important to develop these soft skills that are going to help you succeed later in life. And another thing you can do is join clubs pertaining to these specific interests. There's a lot of clubs that are geared towards very specific topics. So probably something that would help you if you're going to go into law, maybe a debate club or a debate course is going to help you kind of get some experience with arguing, with presenting your findings, presenting your claim against someone else. And Model UN is another example if you want to learn how to establish international communications and relationships. And kind of piggybacking off of that, like based on like the high school courses and stuff, something that I also really recommend is dual enrollment courses, because usually those have a lot of like elective classes where you can gain a lot of knowledge, very basic sometimes, but very useful. So you can take a criminal justice class or a introduction to law or a public speaking class that, even though you might not think it's important, it's just an elective, it's going to help you a lot when in the future, when you pick that major and you go into that career and you see that you already developed some skills that are going to help you. Now you're going to look like a better applicant when, let's say, apply to law school, when you apply to a government position in relations to human services. So it's always, I think dual enrollment is amazing, and you just get a head start and a head start on experience. So here are some resources. And the one I would probably want to highlight is the one that says to prepare for a career in human resources, because you always want to do your research before and you want to get a head start on things. You want to see, oh, what do I have to do to get into this career? What are the requirements? And just look into it as a whole. How does it benefit you? How does it interest you? So it's always good to know. So the fifth career cluster, which is pretty large, but it's very interesting, is engineering. slash industrial. So as I was saying, the range for this job is often very large. And what I mean by that is just engineering can fall under so many industries that it's just the options are basically limitless. If you're more geared to working like technical or something with computer science, there's very specific careers for that. If you're more into the biological side of it, you can always help develop certain medicines and things to create that, or help in innovation. So people who often go into engineering, they're creative problem solvers, communicators, and team players. And they're often very well educated and good at solving problems. So that's something to consider. So here are some of the main like career paths so you can like choose when going into this career cluster. So as I said, the scientific aspect of it, where biological is probably the best example or the most known, because there are biomedical engineers. And there are a lot of good programs for that specifically. And it's different. There's so many different ones. So if you want to work more technological, you can work in computer science or IT or software. Those are very needed jobs because we have so much technology nowadays. And if you're very interested in that, then this should be perfectly suited for you. And if you're skilled in mathematics, there are plenty of jobs where you can use industrial or engineering skills to pursue that. So I know at our school, they offer a lot of different opportunities for people overall in science, but there are some very specific classes and clubs that are geared towards engineering. So I know there's a club called Ingenium that is mostly like robotics and engineering, basically. So it's a great club if you're going to go into this career. So I recommend at least like trying it out. And there's also Science Honor Society, which is more general, but it falls under the category because, you know, chemistry and biology, it falls under there. So it doesn't hurt to join. So some things that you can do. First one would be, it's most recommended to take math and science, because even though you should not forget about your English and your histories, math and science are obviously going to be the priority because that's what you're dealing with. And you want to take challenging ones. Example, at our school, we have AP Computer Science Principles and AP Computer Science A. So it's great if, even if you don't know what you want to go into and you're not 100% sure you want to be in computer science, it doesn't hurt to take the class, because maybe if you take the class, you can find out whether you like it or not. You can find out if that's like for you. And even if you don't, you gain experience and you can probably use that in the future. And finding opportunities outside of school is also very important, as it's going to be for each one. And of course, gaining hands-on experience. So if you want to, like, maybe again, an internship would be very cool. Or maybe just like another job, or if you have connections with someone, an engineer, maybe they can like talk to some people, or they know of some programs that are geared towards high school students, or even in college. If you're a senior, you're gonna go into that next year, then it's good to find those opportunities outside of school and those extracurriculars that are gonna help you. And I already said about joining the robotics or engineering club at your school. And then summer programs are also, even though they typically are costly, you can always apply for a scholarship, and that is going to help you significantly open your mind and advance in experience in learning about engineering. So it doesn't hurt, again, just because it's a lot of money doesn't mean you can't get a scholarship. It doesn't hurt to apply, so always consider that. And here's some resources. One that I particularly want to highlight is the introductory courses for engineering, which a lot of very renowned institutions, such as the one I put, MIT, which is great, a great school for engineering, they often offer introductory courses. You can do it in your free time, even if you can't go to these summer programs, even if you can't join the club, you can do this in your free time and at least learn of certain things you can do to basically broaden your experience with the subject and see whether it's right for you. And the last career cluster that we're going to cover is education. So this, everyone knows what education is. You are helping students gain appreciation for knowledge and developing new skills. And I also think this one is something that it's not just high school. You know, there's not just high school teachers. There's teachers everywhere. There's so many teachers for university. You know, you need university teachers, you need teachers teaching in medical school and law school and basically any master's or graduate school. You need teachers, and teachers are probably one of the most important people out there. So this is very the range for this is very large as well. So the three categories that this cluster involves mostly, the ones that you're going to typically encounter, basically condensed. So first you have your K through 12 teachers, which are your kindergarten through 12th grade teachers at public or private or charter schools, the ones that you see on a day-to-day basis. Your higher education teachers, which you're going to find in those universities, those master programs, and those graduate schools. So that's another option. And lastly, the one that is often not talked about or referenced is teaching abroad, which I think is very interesting because mostly people who teach abroad, they go to another country to teach English. That's a very popular one. It can be any subject, but English is probably the one you're going to encounter here when you're going to go teach abroad. And it's very interesting if you don't want to stay in the United States, or if you want to travel in the future, if that's something that's necessary when looking at your future, then it's a great option. And you get to learn about different countries and different people. And some clubs and courses they can take at Somerset that are going to help you or are going to guide you with this experience. One of them is FEA, which is Future Educators of America. It's a club at Somerset where you basically do a lot of events and different opportunities that are geared towards helping education or learning about education. And if you want to take a specific class, they offer childhood education at Somerset. They have several different classes. I think they have 1, 2, and 3. They're different levels. It's like a 3-year program. So it's very good if you want to go into this. And it's an amazing program because you get to work directly with young children. So I think it's great. And here's some things you can do. Kind of relating back to the arts one, I talked about looking at a sample resume, and I'm going to emphasize the importance of that because really it's going to help you in so many ways. Just looking at what other people do, you know, you always want to be on top of things. You don't want to miss out on something that someone did, and the reason why you don't get a position is because you didn't do that, just because you didn't know before. So I never want people to miss out on those opportunities. So you want to see, hey, if this person did this volunteer program, or if this person did this, maybe the application's coming up soon. Maybe you can still apply. Maybe you can still do it, and or kind of work that into your schedule or your plan to pursue that career. So I think it's very important to look at those resumes. Another one is probably the easiest one is you can talk to educators at your school. Because if you're going to be a teacher, you're basically surrounded by teachers at your school. So talk to the closest one, or if you want to teach a specific subject, then talk to your science teacher, talk to your English teacher. They have been through the process, so they can give you advice. They can tell you what to do. And if you're not interested in teaching adolescents or young people, you can probably still ask them, because some teachers are actually pursuing, I know a lot of them are pursuing, they're still pursuing a career to teach at a university, or they're doing their degree for that. So they're probably doing that right now. So you have plenty of people to ask. It doesn't have to be a teacher. It could be a guidance counselor. It could be any educator or administrator that you know that can help you. So it's very easy to just talk to the closest teacher you know. And I talked about the classes that you can take at Somerset or whatever school you go to. That would help you. But kind of relating back to that, if you don't take these classes yet, or you don't have that chance or anything like that, you can look at your volunteer opportunities or like a part-time job that's geared towards working with children, if that's what you're if that is what you're interested in. So example, working at a daycare or working at summer camp, volunteering to be a camp counselor. Either way, even if you don't put on your resume, which you probably should, but if you don't think it's that important to you, it will be important, because you're going to develop experience with kids. So you're going to know how to deal with them in the future. You can actually still put that in your resume, some skills that you have, and that's going to show them that the university or whatever program you want to go to in regards to education, it's going to show that you have experience with this, and it's going to make you stand out. So that is very important. And here's some resources. Again, the requirements I would say are very important, because you want to know what you're getting into before you actually go and pursue it. And yeah, that's the presentation. So be sure to take all of this knowledge into consideration when you're completing or you're researching your various career options or anything of the sort, or if you're going on Naviant and just like playing around. I hope that this helped. It's just an overview, but as I said before, each career has specific categories that go into it. And yeah, I hope this helped you. If you want this presentation, I will be sending the link, or I'll be attaching this presentation to my email distribution list. So if you don't have access to it, the Google form is always in the bio, in the description.